Okay, so I'm really excited to do this call. This is just an opportunity for you to ask some questions and me to answer and me to go through kind of some bullet points. If at any point you have a question, you can put it in the chat because I will ask you to ask it and you're never going to ask it. But if you really have a question you want to ask, put it in the chat. You can send it directly to me. I will answer as quickly as I can. I'm just going to go over some things and then I'll open it up for questioning. Cool. Cool. No one's gonna respond, so cool. All right. So the first thing I want to talk through is the timeline of September 1st, right? So everybody knows September. Wait, let me start at this part. First thing, this is all about Division One. I just want to start there. This September 1st rule had to do with Division One. So Division Two, Three, junior colleges, they may already have been talking to you guys. If you have specific questions about those, I don't mind sitting down and chatting with you individually. But this broad call was just for Division One, so we could kind of give a blanket overview of what that looks like. Okay, cool. So the first thing I wanted to just go over was September 1st, what that means, what that looks like, and kind of give you an idea. So September 1st at midnight is the first time that a Division One school can make contact with you via text, email, or phone call, or FaceTime call, or Zoom, or whatever method of communication they deem they want to use. That can be done at the stroke of midnight, your time. So not the school's time, no matter where they are across the country, it's your particular time. So wherever you are, that's when they can make contact with you. I've been talking to a lot of schools and I've had a lot of schools tell me that they will not be making phone calls at midnight, that they will be sending text messages, they will be sending emails, but their plan is to then wake up and call kids the next morning. That is not every school, but I have had a lot more than maybe the first year. I think every year it's gotten more and more calls have gotten away from midnight. They've started to go to the next morning. So I said that to say, you may not get a phone call at midnight. You may get a text message. You may get an email. You may get, yeah, I guess text message or email. And then you can respond to that so that they can reach out to you the next day. They may say, hey, would you like to set up a time? And in that, you start to set up your time. Okay. First, let me go back. First thing I want to start with is what you should have with you when you get ready to start taking calls. So, with you on your area, wherever you decide you're going to take calls, I would tell you to choose a place where you're going to try to take all your calls the first day, if that's possible. So, especially since it's Labor Day, you're not in school, try to look for a place in your house that you think is a quiet place or what have you. That's your place. First thing I would get is obviously your phone, right? You gotta have your phone for somebody to talk to. So get that first, make sure it's charged. The last thing you want is for you to be in the middle of your phone call and your phone die because, you know. Second thing I would have is I call them a flat calendar. And that just basically means a calendar that you can write on, like one that's not on your wall. I think you get it for September, October, November, December. You get the calendar, you have it where you are. That allows for you, in case you have any events that you can't miss that you want to have, write those down ahead of September 1st. If there's a particular weekend that you know you're not available after September 1st, write that down so that you're able to tell a coach immediately, like, oh, I have this on this date without having to like call them back. Um, it also helps as you start to schedule visits so that you don't overschedule over somebody. Once you've decided a weekend that you're going to have a visit, write it down so that you know that. And then when you talk to another school, you don't have to circle back and say, hey, I forgot I booked this or whatever. Write your camps down because I know some of you have already booked camps that you have. Write those down on there so that you have that written down as well. The homecoming, the whatever that you feel like you want to be at, write it down so that it's already on your calendar. Okay. I also recommend having an extra phone or an iPad or something to record you taking your calls. It doesn't have to be a video necessarily, it could just be the voice. I just think that you guys get really excited. It's a really, good opportunity and it's a really exciting time, right? That I've had kids get off the phone and go, "Oh, I don't know what I talked about. I don't know what I said. I don't know what they said. I think they offered me, but I'm not quite sure if they offered me." So I think having another recording of it, it's just a good way to go back and listen to that and just make sure you haven't missed anything, making sure any of that stuff. I'm going to say this right now. You should not post those recordings online, whether it be your secret Instagram, whether it be your secret TikTok, whether it be X. I think at this point, recruiting is a matter between you, your family, your coach. It is not a matter for the internet until you decide to make your decision. So I say record those calls so that you're able to listen to them, not so that you can post it for your homies. Okay? That's just my opinion. I also think you should have your list of priorities. Whatever you're going to be using to make your decision, write those out in clear context, what you want, so that when you're taking these calls, you're able to go back and look at them and go, oh, yeah, that is important to me. Oh, yeah, so and so. Because as coaches get to talking, you're like, I love this coach. I want to go here. And then they have nothing that you wanted. They're far from home, or they don't have your major, or they whatever. You just got to make sure you keep your priorities. So I would have those written down, put them on your wall, put them on your mirror, put them wherever you're going to see them while you're taking the call, so that you're able to ask questions that relate to that. I also think you need to have written down your NCAA clearinghouse number and have your most up-to-date transcript. So maybe you have those in your phone, but you need to have them to send to coaches in case they don't already have that. So your NCAA clearinghouse number, that's easily gotten by going to NCAAclearinghouse.com and signing up for the first one, which is the free one. You just need a number. You cannot go on an official or unofficial visit without your NCAA clearinghouse number. Does anybody have any questions so far? You won't, but I just. Sorry. No. Okay. The very last thing. The very last thing that I would have with me is a list of who you want to attend camps with you, or sorry, visits with you. So if that's your mom, your dad, because they may ask you that on the call, you want to just be able to revert back to that and say, oh yeah, I want my mom. Oh yeah, I want my dad. Oh yeah, I want my so-and-so, or whatever. So I would have that down too. Can you guys hear me? Yes? Okay, good. Sorry. Okay, the next thing that we're gonna go over is what a typical visit, or yeah, what a typical visit is like, because I get that question all the time, like the timeline of it. So, or let me start at the top. An unofficial versus an official visit. An unofficial visit is a visit that your family pays for, that your families cover the cost. An official visit is a visit that the university covers the cost. That is the difference. You will get opportunities to do both. There are some schools that they don't do official visits until you're a senior. They basically wait till all the kids commit, they bring them in on one visit, they pay for everybody to come in. That's how they do their official visits. Some schools will do their official visits for juniors out of the gate. Some schools will not. Normally, that's not an indicator of their interest in you as a player as much as a budgetary issue. Some schools have the budgets to bring in, 10 kids in the hopes to get 5. Some schools don't have that budget. Some schools have to know exactly who they're bringing in, that they're going to get them. Because you got to think like a coach, like, so you may want to get 5 kids in a class, but you may have to bring in 10 kids to get to 5 kids, because some kids may turn you down. So some budgets can't handle having to bring in more kids than they can recruit. So, an unofficial or official visit is still normally a 48-hour visit. That's normally the time frame of a official or unofficial visit. And what I mean by that is 48 hours you're on campus. So you would do like, if you're far away, it depends on kind of where you are. So say you go on a visit out of state. They would say, okay, we want to have you here Thursday night because the visit's going to start first thing Friday morning. So you would go, if you're flying, you fly in. If you're driving, you drive in, what have you. Thursday night, you would get there Friday morning. Friday morning, you'd wake up, you'd have some sort of breakfast, something with coaches. And And then normally Friday is your day that you go and see more of the academics or the on-campus things that are not sports oriented. Like you would meet the academic advisor, you would maybe go look at your college. If you have a particular major that you're looking for, they take you over to those buildings, you see those classes, those type of things. Then you eat lunch of some sort. You may watch a workout of some sort, whether it be like a gym workout or an on the field workout with the team. You meet the team, then you go to some sort of dinner or a Friday night event. So normally Friday night events are soccer, volleyball, something like that. You go to something like that. And then you normally get some time with the girls. Before your visit, you want to decide if you prefer to stay with the players, if they're offering you that, or you prefer to stay with your family. I have kids that like both. I have some kids that want to be with the players, stay in the players' apartments, like on their couches and stuff. And I have some players that are like, I want to be with my family. I want to hang out with the girls, get to know them, and then I want to go back to the room with my parents. That's completely up to you. You just got to figure out which one you want before so that you can have that conversation before. So it's not awkward on the visit. You don't want them to have planned for you to stay with the girls, but you really want to stay with your parents, or for you to want to stay with the girls, or yeah, and they plan for you to stay with your parents. It's just good to kind of have that knocked out. And if you're not comfortable having that conversation, that is what your coaches are for. Talk to your coaches, tell your coaches that, and they can relay that message to the college coach really easily if it's not been relayed already. So you would spend some time with the girls and you go back to your room where you stay with them. The next day you get up, it's normally Saturday. You would do, if the school has football, you do something around that. You would do tailgating, something of that nature. Then you tour facilities, all that good stuff, to apartments, blah, blah, blah. And then you would attend a football game. Normally you spend about half the time at a football game, unless it's a really good game, and then you spend more time there. You normally again spend more time with the girls, and then you go to sleep. Sunday, you normally wake up and head out. So normally you're on the first thing smoking out of there on Sunday. So really the prime visit days that you're on campus doing things are Friday or Saturday. Now that does not always mean the case. Maybe if the school doesn't have football, there's some schools that don't, maybe they bring you in during the week because they have more things going on during the week. Maybe if you choose to go to a visit on a weekend they don't have football, or they don't have, something on campus sports related, they may choose to do a different day. But primarily that's normally when visits are. I have a couple rules about visits that I want to give you. These are my rules that I tell the people, especially the ones that play for me. These are non-negotiable for the kids that play for me, but I'm just going to give you the rules too, and I think they should be non-negotiables for you. Okay. The three things, number one, you should cover up the 3Bs. You should not show boobs, butt, or belly on a visit. That's not appropriate. I know the crop tops are really in. Uncrop your top. You should not be showing boobs, butt, or belly. That's just not appropriate. Okay. Let's also keep the leggings with the shirt long enough to go over your butt. We should not have our butts out either, like in that regard, because sometimes you guys don't realize your leggings are see-through and we don't want to see that. So if you're unsure, ask your mama to look at it and make sure, but I don't need you to wear like a business suit to it, but I think that we can wear jeans, and there's a lot of things we can wear between crop tops and a business suit. So find that happy medium. I think that you should be honest and open. Ask the questions that you have because you're in that moment in front of them. Ask like, where do you see me? How do you see me contributing? What are the chances that that underclassmen get an opportunity to help this, like ask those type of things that come to your mind. I would ask them, especially when you're in your specific meeting with just you and the coaches. That is your time to ask everything that pertains to you. Because that's what they're asking. They're going to say, do you have any questions? And you're going to all shake your head no, but you do have questions. So if you need to write them down and put them on a little piece of paper and put them in your pocket, go for it. If you need to write them down in the notes section of your phone, go for it. And then pull that out. They don't mind that at all. Limit your phone use. Even if other coaches are trying to text you as they're trying to engage with you, try to limit your phone use to when you're back in your room or back in your hotel or on a break. They normally give you breaks, or they'll say, hey, you guys go into the shopping, go shop, in the bookstore or whatever. Limit your phone use to then. It's just you want to show respect on every visit that you're on. You don't want to be conversing with another coach the whole time or what have you. You can use your phone though. You're gonna want to take pictures, you're gonna want to do the whole thing. You can do that. But I try to tell you be where your feet are so you get the full experience. No drinking, vaping, e-cigarettes, whatever else things are out there in the world. I don't care if you see one of the kids on their team do it. You do not do it. A, you're underage if you're a junior. B, they are going to tell on you. That's their job. After the visit's over, the coach is going to say, "What did you think about these kids?" And they're going to be like, "Oh, this kid was wild, coach. She was out here vaping like crazy." Or they're going to tell on you. So it's just not even worth it. But no matter how cool you think they are, no matter how many times you saw them do it, you cannot do it. So no drinking, no vaping, no cigarettes, no nothing. This goes along to my next rule. Do not confide in these current players or other recruits on your visit. Don't, "Oh yeah, I came on this visit, but I really want to go to bed. I really want to go to Baylor." Like they're going to tell somebody as soon as you get up and leave, they're going to text the coach and be like, "She really doesn't want to come here. She's just wasting your time." Do not confide in them. They're not your homies. They're not your buddies. All along with that, do not add them to those little fake or those Finstas, whatever y'all call them. I don't know. Don't add them to that. Even if they're like, "I know you got one," don't add them to that. The kids are used to get the information from you that the coaches cannot. You'd be shocked how many times coaches call me after a visit and say, "Oh, our kids showed us your kid's secret Snapchat," or "Our kids showed us your kid's secret Instagram, and they were doing some wild stuff on there." So do not do it. Just don't even do it. Keep it to yourself. Wait till when you're there on the team, then you can show everybody everything you want to do. But just wait till you get there. Also treat your parents with respect and watch how you talk to them at all times. They are watching that. A lot of coaches are always watching how you treat your parent. When your mom says something you don't want her to say and the look you give her, or the way you talk to your dad when he's trying to be mindful of that. They're always watching. There's a bunch of coaches on a visit. They're always watching just to see how you fit in because they think, that's the person that loves you the most. And if you would treat them like that, then you definitely treat me like that. So just be mindful of that. Do we have any questions? I'm looking at my chat. I don't see any yet, but I just want to ask one. Oh, I did get a question. Okay. Do you need to bring workout gear to a visit? No. If it is a visit, you do not need to bring workout gear. It's not a tryout. It's actually against the rules for you to do any softball related activity, sports related activity while on the visit. Now, if it is a camp that then turns into a visit, then that you went initially for the camp. So yeah, you should bring your softball stuff. But if it is set up as a visit, then no. You do not need to bring any softball gear, any cleats, any turfs. You bring normal clothes. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So the other thing on this 27th I want to talk to you about is the recruiting timeline. So I say this every year. No one ever listens to me, but I'm going to say it again just so that you hear it out of my mouth again. September 1st is the start of recruiting. That's the first time they can talk to you. That does not mean every coach that ever wants to recruit you will call you September 1st. Does not mean that. Not because they don't want you. Sometimes it's because they don't even know you yet. Sometimes it's because they just don't have the bandwidth to do it. Some schools are taking a stance of they are going to spend time with their team and then call you. So you may not get a call from a coach until September 1st night. And that doesn't mean they don't want you. Last year, I had quite a few coaches that said, "Hey, we're going to spend the morning with our actual team like we would normally do, our weights, our conditioning, our individuals, and then we will call people in the afternoon." So just be mindful that one has nothing to do with the other because that is literally the start of recruiting. the start of visits, there can be no visits before September 4th. So that's the first day that visits can start, which is that Thursday. But it's actually a dead period from the 1st through the 3rd so that there can be no visits. There was a little loophole rule that they had to fix. So the first day of visits is September 4th. That's the first day a visit can be scheduled. They can talk to you about a visit on your phone call. So September 1st, they can call you and invite you on a visit if they want to. And that visit can start September 4th. But that it cannot start before that. So then once recruiting starts, you have all the way. So you got October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. I'm going to go to November next year. November 8th through the 11th is when the NIL signing period for Division I's begin. So that is when you can first sign. So that's a lot of months, you guys. That is like a long time. That's how long before the first initial signing is. I like to just put that out there because everyone thinks that the signing is this November for y'all, and it's not. It's next. So after that, you still have December 2026, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August of next year that you can, of 2027, sorry, that you can still get recruited. Recruiting and signing doesn't stop for your class until the first day of school for that particular college. So if they want to sign you August 1st because their school doesn't start till August 15th, they can once the signing period starts. I say that to say that there is a lot of opportunity. So just because everyone will have a journey, I will have someone that does not sign until the 2027 summer. I know that for a fact. I've had it happen every year. So you guys don't shut down if it doesn't happen day 1 or day 2 or day 3 or day 4. You have a long, long journey. How many of you, I know you're not going to say this, but raise your hand. How many of you have seen all the 26s committing recently? Haven't you felt like it's a lot in the last month? I think they are starting to take their time because of the portal. That is their way to figure out what they have. So going into a year, they think they only need X. But if all the freshmen get in the portal, then like, oh crap, I need this. Or if all this, they don't know. So I think you will continue to see that trend of kids committing the summer after too, because based on what they lose out of the portal. Any questions so far? Mia, you have a question? You're laughing. You got a question? No? Okay. Didn't think so. All right. Okay. So what if you don't get the call that you want September 1st? What if you want a call from school A and they didn't call? What's your next step? I get that question a lot. Your next step is to either grind hard to figure out, to try to get them to come to the table or to move on. So my main thing would be like, if you didn't get the call you wanted, can you reach out to them? Yes. Can you reach out to them with a number I gave you? No. Because I think I don't think that's right. Like if they didn't want you to have their number yet, they didn't give it to you. So I will not be giving out people's phone numbers, but I will give out emails like anybody's business or their Twitters, and you can message them there. But I will only give out numbers for coaches that say it's okay. Oh, I got a question. Do colleges give you a time limit on offer? Yes, very good question. Depends on who you are. Just to shoot you straight, no, there's no answer. There's no answer across the board. It depends on who you are. I've seen them say, like, man, we'll take as long as we can to get this kid. And I've also seen them say you got 3 weeks. I think a reasonable time frame is honestly to the end of the fall. I don't think you can expect a coach to offer you, in September and wait till after the fall, because I think they have to probably get somebody. So I think, that is probably the timeline that they would give you. If it's a bigger school, interestingly enough, the timeline is probably shorter than if it's, no, that's not true, actually. Take that back. I think it just depends on the school. It depends on that's something that you ask when you get an offer, like, "Hey, coach, can you let me know what the timeline is on this offer? When are you expecting a decision by?" And if you forget to ask that, you can always reach out and we can, as coaches, we can call the coach and ask that, like, "Hey, when does that offer expire? When do you want an answer by?" We can always reach out and ask that. Between myself and your coaches, we can ask that for sure. Um, hmm. The next question I got was, what if a college offers you on the call or visit, but you are not ready to commit? What is a good way to tell them? My first question would be, which you can't really tell me this because you don't know yet, but like, why are you not ready to commit? Are you not ready to commit because you're waiting for another school? Or do you just feel not ready to commit? Because I think those would be two different things. One, I don't think you have to commit on a visit. And I'll give you the way you can say that, the way I tell most kids. Coach Jazz says we have to go home and think about it before we can make a decision. So that way you just put it on me. So then it's not on you. I've been saying that for years. So I do think a coach would be like, oh yeah, she has been saying that for years. I just think that gives you the opportunity to go home and think about it. Um, and just make sure you all heard the same thing. Make sure the parents heard the same thing as the kids. And that is not just one of those moments where you're like, I'm ready to commit because I'm ready to commit. So I would say to the coach, hey, coach, thank you so much for the offer. I appreciate it. Coach Jazz advised us to go home and think about it, or Coach Jazz said we have to go home and think about it, however you want to say it. Um, so I can't make a decision today. But me to you, however you are wanting, I would have deeper questions on why you're not ready to commit. And then that could help me. How many players does the school typically carry on their roster? It's changed recently because they can't go over 25. So 90% of the schools will carry 25. If you see a school with kids over 25, that is because they had that many kids already going there before the rule changed. And the NCAA gave them a way to um, not have to cut those kids. So they actually designated them student athletes. And so they designate student athletes for the 26 through however many they have. And so that means that they're actually not like they won't play in games, but they're still on the roster, if that makes sense. But the 25. And the second part to this question is how many scholarships are they usually able to offer? That has changed too. Each school will vary because it used to be you used to have 12 scholarships that you can offer. That was the max the NCAA gave, and they then switched that to having 25 full ride offers, but your school has to have the money to fund those offers. So there are a lot of schools that do not have 25 full rides. For instance, like I know a couple SEC schools where their schools got them up to 18. So they'll have 18 offers to disperse to 25 kids. I know some schools that their school are going to keep them at 12. I know some schools that they are going to they kept them at 12 scholarships and then they gave them the monetary difference to take that money and not offer scholarship, but they can offer NIL. So it will just depend. Um, each individual school will have a different answer on that. But they cannot go over now, they cannot pick up over 25 kids. So that will be the max for the rosters. Good question. How do you answer a coach? How do you answer if a coach says who else is talking to you? So I that's a good question. It's a tough question. Because if you say nobody else, then they're like, what's wrong with you? And if you say a bunch of schools and they can cross-check you. I would say uh, I would say I don't know because Jess hasn't told me that my kids they always get an excuse because they can always just use me um and blame me for everything. But I would just say like, oh, I don't know. My coach doesn't like he wanted me to have a open mind. He just wanted me to see who came. Like I don't have a notion yet or whatever. If they ask you how many visits you plan on going to, always say 2 or 3. I will tell you that. That's the magic number. I plan on going on 2 or 3, or I plan on going 3 or 4. Don't say more than 4. makes them worried. They think you're just trying to be a visit hoe. Sorry. But that's what they think. That you're just trying to go on a bunch of visits and like just see who can do that. So I would say 2 or 3, 3 or 4 visits when they ask you that question. Depending on the school, do they offer or something? You have to ask to make sure you're offered you can get into the school. So they already know if you can get into the school if they've asked for your transcript. That's why they ask for it. They ask for it before you come on an official visit so they know if you can get into the school or not. They know if you can do that or not. So that's kind of how they ask for your transcript, they ask for your NCAA number, all that stuff to figure out if you're going to be eligible to get in. Those are good questions. Keep them coming. No? Okay. All right. Our other coach, Justin Siegel, he said the right thing. Just put it on the coach. When in doubt, put it on the coach. Put it on your coach. And if you don't want to put it on your coach, put it on me. I got big shoulders. I can hold them. Put it on me. I'm all right. If you're in doubt, just put it on me. Will out-of-state schools offer in-state tuition? So there is no more in-state and out-of-state tuition, big dog. With that change of the NCAA and that 25-person roster, they got rid of that. So there is no more of that. A scholarship is a scholarship is a scholarship is a scholarship. Okay, what do coaches usually talk about on their first call? Your first initial call is going to be a hello call. They're not going to get into like the deep depths of your soul the first call. They're going to say, especially if it's September 1st, they're going to say, how are you, Sally? Glad I finally get to talk to you. I've been watching you all summer. How's your September 1st going? It is okay for you to be excited because they understand this is an exciting time. So you could be like, it's so exciting, it's great. Or you don't have to be like, it's great. It was a great time. Like you don't have to, you're not on an interview. So you can be excited. They expect that. They're going to ask you like, who's all there? Oh, my mom, my dad. They're going to ask those type of questions. It's not going to get super in depth yet. That happens on like the second call. So normally if you get a call September 1st, it's by coach A. So say you're an infielder. A lot of times they do it that way. Like if you're an infielder, then coach A calls you from the infield. And then the next day, or maybe that night, you get a call from coach B, who's the pitching coach, or coach C, who's the head coach, or whatever. By the end of a few days, if they're interested in you, you're going to probably talk to every coach on the staff. And they're going to ask you the same general questions. And then as you have more calls, they'll get a little bit deeper, like, what are you looking for in this school? And then you tell them, what are you looking for into this? But like, that's kind of when you're able to get into those more in-depth conversations. But the initial ones are just going to be like, hi, how are you? They're not going to be like, tell me everything about you. And you don't have to have a bunch of questions. I keep getting that, like, well, how many questions should I ask on the first call? You shouldn't. Like, you should just let the conversation flow. Which I know that's hard for you little texters, but you have to let the conversation flow. You have to be able to read the room. If they're talking to you and having a conversation, you're going to have a conversation back. That's important. If they're not really talking and you could tell that they're just like, hey, and then that may be they're just trying to make the quick initial phone call. So you're just going to have to kind of read the room. You'll have your parents there. They should be able to help you read the room. Oh, good question. What if they call and you miss it? Would they reach out another way? Yes, they would normally leave a message. So I forgot to say this earlier. Clear out your voicemails. If you have any voicemails on your phone, clear them out so that you have space because they're adults. They will leave a voicemail. And so if your voicemail box is full, they cannot leave a voicemail. So clear it out. They probably will text too and say, hi, this is Coach so-and-so. I tried to reach. What's a good time for you? And so then you can get back with them. They understand that you might be getting multiple calls. So they won't be offended. They will only be offended if it takes you half the day to call them back or something like that. But they won't be offended if they miss a call or something like that. They're not going to be offended at all. They understand that. Okay. Okay. Chelsea, I'm gonna call you separate, okay? Because you're asking personal questions to you, Chelsea. And so I'm gonna just get with you personally. Is that okay? I want to be able just to get with you, big dog. Oh, good call. I had another question. Who should be doing the talking during the call? Parents, let your kids talk to them. Let them talk. It's okay to say like hi if they're like, who's all there? And they're like mom, dad, or whatever. It's okay for them to be like hi, but let your kids do the talking. That is a complete red flag if every time they ask the kid a question, the parent answers. Let your kid do the talking. You can do practice calls with your kid. If you feel like your kid is the awkward kid that's not going to talk well, do practice calls with them. Pretend to be coach so and so and do practice calls with them. But they don't expect your kids to be perfect. They really don't. They don't expect them to be like these trained professionals. They want to get to know them. Let your kids do the talking. I know you're so proud. I know you want to tell the coach how much they want to go there. I know all the things. So, but just keep it inside. Sorry. Write it down. Text it to me. I love that. Text that to me. I love to know how great you think your kid is. Text me. Don't say it during the call. Um, Someone said since we aren't allowed to have our phones during the day, will they understand if it takes us longer to get back to them if calls come after September 1st? Yes, they will. They totally will understand that. I have called well over 100 coaches to explain to them about the new rule in Texas about no phones. So, and I will continue to call. I actually am going to post something online so that they will understand that most schools in Texas will not allow you to have your phone. And so you will be getting back to them in the afternoon. If you want to post a Twitter message, if you think you're cool like that and you want to say like, hey, I'm at this school and September 2nd, starting September 2nd on the weekday, I can't return your call to after 2:30 or whatever. You can totally do that. Or you could tell your coach and your coach could tell coaches, but they will understand that, especially if they're a higher academic school. They're not even going to try to call you while you're in school. Most won't try to call you while you're in school. They only normally do that September 1st, but since September 1st is Labor Day, they don't have to worry about school. So after that, they will probably text you first to set up a call to figure out what time you're free and then do the call. If they text you, text them back, guys. Do not, if it's a school you're not totally interested in, I think you should take every initial phone call. I think whoever reaches out to you initially, you should take that phone call because you don't even know them. You haven't had an opportunity to talk to them. So I don't care if it's school, if it's Glenn, if it's whoever, I think school, whatever, you take the initial phone call, you have the initial phone call, and then afterwards you can make the decision like, okay, I'm not interested or whatever. And then you say that to them. However, you communicate with them, though, is how you have to tell them no. So if you have a phone call with them, you need to call them back on the phone and tell them thanks, but no thanks. If they only texted you, then you can text them that. However, the conversation was initiated is how you have to deliver your answer. Now, if it fizzles out, like if they call you September 1st and you never heard from them again, then it fizzled out. Then you don't have like, and you like, if they called you September 1st, you never heard from them again, and then you commit October 8th, you don't have to call them, but they stop wanting you, obviously, if you only talk to them September 1st. So you're gonna have to read the room. Like you guys, like you're just gonna have to read the room. Okay. If they ask you what you want to major in, is it okay to say you don't know yet? Yep, it is totally okay to say you don't know yet. They are expecting that. Even if you tell them you know, your major is going to change 5 and 6 times. Maybe. So they're okay with that. If you don't know yet, no problem. If you do know, tell them so that they're able to kind of see. I had someone ask, do you need to qualify academically first before a school offers you? Well, you have to be like in the ballpark, right? So that's why they look at your transcript. Like if you have if they get your transcript and you have all F's, they're gonna be like, they're not gonna offer you. But you have to be in the ball. Like they're not gonna take you through the stringent process of getting in because it's not honestly as like for athletes, they can look at your transcript today and know if you can get in or not. Now they may be able to tell you like, hey, if you take class 1, 2, 3, you can get more money academically and stuff like that. But for the most part, they can look at your GPA and stuff and say you're gonna get in. Is it true that some programs restrict certain study majors for athletes? Not true. Not at all. What they do is if your kid, I'm gonna shoot y'all straight because that's how I like to roll. If your kid makes C's and they're like, I want to be a doctor, they're gonna probably be like, That's probably like we're not gonna put you in bio. Like they're just more honest. They're not gonna allow you to drag the GPA down of the team because you can't read the room. So that's kind of where they normally say, like, hey, I don't think you should do that because you're probably not gonna have the grades for it. Now, what they might do is say, you can't take those courses during season. They may say, "Hey, we're gonna do those courses during the summer. Like if it's a really strict, like hard course, we're gonna do those courses in the fall. We're gonna do those courses in the summer." But they don't restrict you. College coaches, honestly, most of their bonuses come from academic bonuses. Like you know how in May and stuff you see like all conference academically or this team's GPA is blah 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 blah. They normally get a bonus for that. So they're just as invested in your academic success as you are. Because a lot of times that's where they actually get their bonuses from. If the whole team has over this GPA or that, whatever. I have heard that rumor a lot too, but I have not seen it to be true. I mean, um, Kelly Maxwell was a pre-vet major. So she went to the World Series 4 time trying to be a vet doctor, and now she's at LSU as a vet doctor. So like I think as long as you can do it, they'll let you do it. I just some of y'all can't do it, and your parents don't tell them. What else? You will have someone asked me this about academic success. So you will have they will have an academic advisor normally that only works with a couple sports. So you will have a softball specific academic advisor that is able to help you pick the courses that you take. Like I said, help you tell you when to take them, when not to take them. Um, they will even help you like don't take this teacher. This teacher isn't great for traveling or like they'll tell you all that type of stuff. Normally freshmen also have study hall hours. It's normally about 10. So normally you have to get 10 study hall hours a week um, while you're in school. Uh, so good luck, freshmen. That was hard for me. And then normally as your GPA gets like as you after your freshman year, they look at your GPA and then they assign you your hours based on your GPA. They also have tutors and all they like arrange all that stuff for you. Like I said before, the academic colleges are invested in your academic success just as much as your parents are and you are. They want you to be successful. They actually get bonuses based on your grades and on APR, which is your graduation rate. So they want you in and out of here. Does the SAT, yes, this says, does the SAT, ACT matter as much as you're an athlete? Yes, it does matter. It matters still quite a bit if the school is not test optional. So that is easily, you're able to look that up. You can Google a school and find out if they're still test optional. Since COVID, they, when COVID happened, most schools started being test optional. Quite a few schools have returned back to taking test scores, but quite a few schools have not. So you can easily Google that to figure out if the school is test optional or not. So find that out. It says if I was primarily a catcher and got injured and had an ACL surgery and just getting back to it and not catching at the moment, do I need to disclose that information? Did you play this summer as a catcher? Are you in a cast? Are you gonna be limping on the visit? I would say if you're limping on the visit, you probably got to tell somebody why. Oh, if you did not play this summer, yeah, you got to tell them why because they want to know why you didn't play. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna just say this: if you didn't play this summer, they're probably not calling you. You're probably all right. They're probably not gonna talk to you until after they see you play this fall. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, I would say if you didn't play for a whole year, you probably got to tell them why. If they're calling, and you didn't play the whole year, go. Kudos to you, girl. I mean, you was killing it the year before. But yeah, I would tell them. ACLs aren't the end all be all like they used to be, you guys. Everybody tests their ACL a couple times nowadays, it feels like. So as long as you got it done. Hmm. Did you play somewhere else other than catcher? I'm kind of interested. Like you didn't play at all? All right, sorry. Anybody else? I'll get in. That's in. Any other questions? Oh, not at all. Oh, okay. He said not at all. This is very interesting. Okay. Hmm. Okay, hygiene. And this is gonna be awkward for the guys on the call, not for me. Please make sure you don't stink on a visit. Like, don't be the smelly girl. Don't go there and everyone's like, oh my god, she stinks. Or oh my god, her hair smells bad. Like, get yourself together before you go on a visit. All that stuff does matter. Like, you think I'm being funny? I'm not. I have seen coaches be like, I cannot take that smelly kid. Like, this is you. This is your opportunity to like. This is the. I always say it's like a first date one. So like, you're showing yourself at your very best. Put yourself together. Do your hair. I would be okay if you don't put those caterpillar in your eyes that you call eyelashes, but do your hair. You know, take a shower, put on deodorant with aluminum in it, not the aluminum free ones, the real stuff. You know, make sure you look good, all that stuff. You will be taking pictures probably if you're going on a visit. So remember those pictures are going to kind of follow you. So if you normally they send you an itinerary and tell you when that is. So if you want to have your makeup on, have your makeup on, your hair done, all that type of stuff. Parents, if you're listening, you're probably going to be in those pictures too if you're on a visit. So I'm going to say do the same as I'm telling your kids, like don't be the smelly parent. It's going to be a lot of walking. It's going to be have your good walking shoes on. Some of them will have golf carts, but have your good walking shoes on. Have your Hokas and your all whatever else y'all got, because it's a big, everybody wants to go on a big campus, which means there's a lot of walking. So have yourself together there. What else you guys got? I also say this every year too. You guys like if there was a way you could mute the there's a few like Twitters that all they do is post about who commits. I would just mute them because I think that that's what gets you guys in such a crazy hissy. Like, put your blinders on and run your own race. And I say that every year, and no one listens to me. But if I was a parent, I would go in there and just mute some of those. And muting it just lets it like not pop up on your thing as much, just to give the kids a break. Like, it's hard to see that every 5 seconds. There are going to be kids, you guys, that commit September 1st. Oh, well, the world doesn't end because they committed September 1st. It doesn't. I actually like to say every time a kid commits, that is you're getting closer to your commitment. Because if a kid was being offered by 4 or 5 schools and that kid finally chose one, then those other 4 schools got to go find a kid now. So they're now getting closer to finding. So I feel like every time a kid commit, it gets your kid a little closer to their school. So try to think of it that way. What about if I play Coach Jones? What about if I play volleyball and I don't want to miss my volleyball games because I love volleyball, but I'm going to college for softball? You got to miss those games. It sets the it makes the visit harder. So I had a kid that we were kind of talking through their visits, and they were going to have to miss every Friday because that's when volleyball games are in Texas. It made it very hard to the point where the school finally said, like, hey, how serious are they about playing college softball if all they care about is missing a volleyball, if they won't miss a volleyball game? And I brought it back to the kid, and I was right. They're like, we're talking about, you know, $500,000 worth of a scholarship, and they're, or $250,000. I went to LSU, sorry, $250,000 worth of a scholarship. And they won't miss a volleyball game for that. And I was like, true. So just be mindful of that. Like, we get you play other sports, we love it. That's great for you. But for the college experience, the coaches say it really throws off the visit because they need a Friday. They need a Friday. So, ooh, I got a long question. Oh, we talked through that, but it's okay. This coach was right. They wanted me just to clarify scholarship. So we talked through some schools have the max funding of 25 full rides. And so when you get a scholarship, you'll get a full ride offer, but most do not. So they will take If they only have 12, they're gonna do like they've been doing for years. They're gonna take the 12 scholarships and divide them up to give partial scholarships to everybody to get to however many they're gonna carry, if they're gonna carry the 25. That's when honestly academics become a really big deal because you're able to stack at most places. And so then they're able to take some athletic aid and academic aid and put it together and really give you a good package. But 90% of the schools are not going to have 25 full rides to give out. So your scholarship is going to be a partial scholarship. The only thing that's changed in this is there is no more out of state versus in state. There is no more of that. So that went away when they changed the thing. That's what I think I was saying at scholarship. Does that make sense? And this is D1, by the way. I'm just talking about D1. Yeah. But I don't have more questions. Let's go with the question. Oh, okay. What would a high academic school consider to be a good SAT score for a softball player? Yeah. So again, not for a softball player. We're just humans, so everyone has the same thing. When you say a high academic school, what do you mean by? Do you mean like Ivy League school, or do you mean like Baylor or Stanford? Like, what do you consider high academic? Because it'll depend. It honestly depends on the school, and it also is a sliding scale based on your grade. So sometimes the higher the grade, the lower your ACT, SAT can be. Can you just say the school? Because I don't know who's in the Patriot League. I don't know that. I should know that, and I will never not know that after today. But if you could just send it to me private if you know I'm putting a thing. But can you tell me which school? Ooh, maybe UConn? Who's in the Patriot? Whoever this is, I can get Boston College. Oh, Boston College is kind of high. I can get you exact numbers on that. That's a good question. I will send that out to the coaches this week on. You could also look up the school. It'll tell you what their like what SAT and ACT you need to have for that. I have a kid at Boston College right now, and I will say, I don't want to say, she got a 35 on her ACT, and I think the highest you can get is a 36. So she was a no-brainer. But I don't think you have to necessarily get that. So let me do some thinking on that. So, oh, I had a question to my text message. It says, certain schools have not, they don't allow nursing. So yes, that is a true statement. Nursing is the one that I have seen is a tough road to go down because of the clinicals. Not because of the education, but because of the clinicals and the hours that you have to put in for that. So there's only a handful of schools that would allow you to do both at the same time. Other schools, you have to get your biology or whatever and then go to nursing school after. I would say though, if you want to be a nurse, you should look into the schools that allow you to do them at the same time. That's a pretty cool thing to do. Some of those are like UT Tyler and Nichols and places like that. And Boston College is ACC, not Patriot League. I knew that school. Thank you for that, coach. Okay. This question said, if a student athlete has not yet committed prior to the high school season, but the coach has rules stating that missing practices or games for camps or college visits will result in sitting out a certain number of games, what's the best situation to navigate that? Honestly, I think you're gonna have to go coach Jazz on them and be like, what the F? If our job is to get kids to college, like that's ridiculous if that's their rule. That's not okay to me. I will say there shouldn't be a ton of camps in the middle of high school season that you should have to miss high school games because coaches are playing at the same time. Colleges are playing at the same time, so they don't do a ton. But I don't ever understand that if our goal is to get kids to college, why we would punish them for that. But it shouldn't be, honestly, it shouldn't be a lot of things you would have to miss. Even if they're gonna do visits, if they're gonna do a visit in the spring, normally they would do it like you could kind of work around your high school schedule. It should not have to be at the same times. And if they're doing a camp, it's primarily on the weekend. And I think if you told them like, hey, I can't miss. Oh, except for like January, if you're in Texas, right? That's where it gets a little bit tough because then we start for some reason in January. I don't know why. I think that's a case by case basis. I think you should go coach jazz on them. That's what I would do. But I am coach jazz. If I'm needed in that situation, I can help. The main thing I would tell you guys too, parents included, is for the coaches, like we're working with our coaches and we're working really hard to help them navigate this recruiting journey with you. But the number one thing that you guys can do to help them navigate is being completely honest, open, and transparent with them. We cannot do anything if we do not know. We cannot talk to a coach. The my biggest pet peeve is to have a conversation with a coach and say like I had a family tell me like, oh, we can't go to any camps this year because we don't have the money. Cool, no biggie. And it wasn't this year, this was years ago. I'm like, cool, no money, no problem. So I told that to schools that were looking at that kid like, hey, she's not going to your camp, not because she's not interested, but because she can't afford it. And then they're like, well, that's funny because she's at LSU or she's at Oklahoma. And I was like, okay. So I need you to be honest and open with me. Even if it's like, hey, Coach Shaz, we don't want to spend our money on that. Like, then I can help navigate it, but I cannot navigate what I don't know I'm navigating. You have to be open and honest with us and have that conversation with us. We're an extension of you. We're trying to do what's in your best interest at all times. But you have to tell us. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. Players too. We don't know what we don't know if you don't tell us. The other thing I would like to say that's going to get ignored on this call is maybe we keep our recruiting journeys to ourselves until we're ready to commit. Maybe we don't tell everybody every time somebody calls you or sends you a tweet or texts you or what visits you're going on to see if you're on the same visits. Like maybe we just wait and we're surprised when we show up and your homie's there. I think recruiting journeys should be private because they're also different. You guys will not listen to me, but I also don't want any calls when you're sad that Sally has more visits than you because you should know what Sally has. I got a text. Do coaches usually text before they call? Depends. After the first, they do for sure, but on the first, they may just call. Also, make sure your coaches have your most up to date number. They're going to reach out to us for it first. So just make sure we have the right number. Parents, make sure your kids have your phone. 2 September 1st ago, I got angry phone calls from coaches because a kid on my team had gotten her phone taken and the parent didn't tell any of us. And so the kid did not get any calls. Well, the kid got calls. The kid did not take any calls September 1st because they did not have their phone. So punish them another time if that's at all possible. Or let us know so that maybe then they can call your phone or whatever. But you got to keep us up to date on that. Again, make sure your coaches have the correct number of whoever needs to be taking the calls. For that too. Also, check your DMs. I know the DMs are kind of weird right now. I'm getting a lot of spam in my DMs too. But sometimes if they don't have your phone number and they don't, maybe you've switched teams recently, like maybe you were in a different org and you came over here, they may not have your phone number. And so they may just try to slide in your DM. They may not know which impact you're with, or they may not. So just check your, for the most part, they will do that on X. So just check your X DMs sometimes to make sure that nobody's in there, trying to get in contact with you or asking you for your contact information or anything like that. Any other questions? Do my other coaches on here have any points they want to point out? They've gone through the recruiting process quite a few times as well. Okay, if you don't, if you do, you can say something. No. Okay. I am going to leave or give you my phone number. If you need it, if you called your coach and they don't have the answer for you and you need it, then you can text me. Text is the keyword. But go to your coach first. So my cell phone number is 832-840-2527. If you absolutely need it only, go to your coach first. And then if there's something I can do to help, I will help after you've gone to your coach. You guys didn't ask this question, but I just want to give you this answer. When we start to hit the recruiting weekend, so like, those 6 weekends up, I think it makes more sense to go to those weekends than to go to a single school camp. So I'll have a kid call me and say, so and so has a camp, and I want to go to this camp where there's only going to be one school at. And I'm like, man, come to where there might be 15 schools or 20 schools at, and maximize your opportunities than spending money to go to a one school camp. That's just my opinion. I think you go to one school camp after the recruiting's over. So you go as soon as the recruiting season's over, go to the one school camps. Go to camp your life away. But I would not miss tournaments unless something else is set in stone. Unless this is like, I don't know what it could be because they have weeks to do. They have 6 weeks to do it before, but unless it's the one weekend they can do it, that's when I would do it. But other than that, I think being at the tournament gives you more opportunities to be seen than not. So that I get that question every now and then. I would not do that. The last thing is, oh, I do have a message from Junior. Junior said, enjoy your journey, don't stress. Parents are being watched and observed at visits on the visits as well. He's correct about that. They are watching you guys. They're watching how you're interacting, the questions that you're asking, mostly how often you overtalk your kid. So be mindful of that. That's a very good point, Junior, on that. The last thing I was going to say is enjoy it. It is a journey. Most of you have worked really hard to get here. You've put in the time, you've put in the effort, and it's going to happen when it's going to happen. You guys take a little bit of a load off and enjoy it. If you get one call, who cares? Enjoy that one freaking call. Live it up. If you get no calls on the 1st and you get calls on the 15th, enjoy that call. Like, try to enjoy it and embrace the moment. It happens how it's supposed to happen. And us as the organization are proud of you when you find your home. I had someone the other day say, well, what school do you want me to go to? I don't care. I don't care at all. I want you to go somewhere where you are happy. I want you to go somewhere where you feel like your priorities or lists are correct and you're going where you want to go. We are proud of you wherever that is, as long as you have found your home. So we don't care. And we want to help you get there in the best way that we can. So lean on your coaches. Your coaches are working hard to try to help you. Lean on them for help. Lean on me for help. Don't lean on the guy that's another 27 parent. I'm going to just say one more thing to you parents out there. Y'all love to talk to the guy that ain't done it yet. That's with y'all that don't know anything else. Like, y'all don't know. Like, so don't lean on that guy. Like, lean on us. We're here to help you. Because the bad information that goes around softball is crazy. But it's going to be awesome. You're going to have your moment no matter when that is. And we're going to cheer and be so excited for you as soon as that happens. So I cannot wait to watch all of you guys commit. And if you need me, I'm here. And I'll ask one more time, are there any other questions? No? Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. It was like 100 people on here. That's crazy at this late at night. So I really do appreciate it. And we were a week away from the start, not the finish. Talk to y'all later. Bye.